You have been wrong about everything. Not partially wrong. Not wrong in the way that invites correction. Wrong in the way that means every conclusion you have ever drawn about your own life was drawn from poisoned ground, using poisoned tools, in service of a story that was never yours to tell. The story was already written. You were not the author. You were the material. Here is the truth, and it will not be softened. The worst thing that ever happened to you did not happen to your life. It built your life. It moved backward through time with total patience and total malice, and it constructed everything you have ever called yours, your memories, your loves, your moments of grace, as raw infrastructure for your own destruction. It did not arrive. It was always already there, behind every good thing, holding it up, waiting. The wound is the architect. The wound has always been the architect. And you built it a cathedral out of your own tenderness without ever knowing you were lifting stone. Understand what this means. It means there was no innocent time. It means the years you call formative were not yours. They were the catastrophe's preparatory work, carried out with surgical precision in the years before the catastrophe had a face. It reached backward into your childhood and placed the right people there. It calibrated exactly how much you would be loved, and by whom, and for how long, so that the removal of that love would register at the exact frequency required to be total. It gave you joy the way a warden gives a prisoner a window, not out of mercy, but to make the walls more real. Every warm memory you have is a weapon the wound made out of you, not a wound inflicted carelessly, a wound that studied you first. A wound that spent years learning your specific architecture of need and longing, so that when it finally moved, it would waste nothing. The tenderness was not accidental. The tenderness was the wound becoming fluent in the language it needed to destroy you in. It learned to speak in the voice of every person who ever made you feel safe. And then it spoke. You were not a person. Who suffered? You were suffering that required a person, required a full human life, populated with genuine beauty, genuine love, genuine hope, because without all of that, the suffering would not be sufficient. The collapse requires something built. The wound needed you whole before it needed you broken. This is the horror that sits beneath every good memory. It was load-bearing. It was selected. The afternoon that still aches when you recall it. The love that still feels like the truest thing. These were not gifts. They were construction. The wound built them because it needed them. It needed you to have known exactly that quality of light in order for the darkness to be precisely, completely, inescapably yours. The warmest thing you remember is the deepest part of the pit. Not because it is lost, because it was always the pit. Because the pit sent it ahead of itself, wearing warmth like a coat, and you held it, and you were grateful, and the pit noted your gratitude and filed it away for later. This is still happening. It is happening right now in whatever goodness remains in your life. The wound is still working backward. You will understand the rest when you get there.